Welcome to Empowered Heart to Heart, where we explore the art of navigating leadership, love, and life without losing yourself. I'm Dr. Rhonda Simmons, and I'm here to help you lead with purpose, love with intention, and live a life that truly feels like your own. Let's go. Dr. Rhonda Simmons, and I am so glad to be with you today. I am thrilled with the series that we've been doing and really diving into all month this month called the Burnout Recovery Toolkit. We've been blueprint rather. We've been working through what burnout actually is, what strategies we can use to address it, and what we can do to prevent it from happening again. Because one thing I know about being a successful woman, however you define success, and that is we tend to have a Wonder Woman mentality where we can do it all, a baby on each hip, cooking dinner, washing dishes, talking on the phone, all at the same time. But that is not how God wants us to live our lives, where we're so stressed until we're no good to anyone else, including ourselves. God wants us to bring our best selves to every relationship and every situation in our lives so that we can not only feel our best, but give our best. And so today we're going to be wrapping up this series with a comprehensive guide to long-term balance and resilience. This is so important. We're talking about crafting your sustainable success plan. The key word there is sustainable. Now, I'm not talking about getting a mani-pedi, although those are wonderful. In my opinion, that's just good hygiene. But beyond that, what are you doing for you that will tilt the scales in your favor? In other words, how are you taking care of you? Are you setting healthy boundaries? Do you even have a vision for a burnout-free life? Let's talk about that a minute, because a lot of times we set these goals, but a vision is not just a goal. It is the steps to get to the goal. That is the vision. So let's talk about how are you going to accomplish that? What do you want your life to look like a month from now, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months from now? How are you going to accomplish this burnout-free life? I can tell you for me, one thing that I can do that I am absolutely in control of is going to bed on time. And when I say on time, I'm talking about 10:30 at the very, very latest. And you might say, well, okay, is that a thing? Why is that so important? Well, I'm dealing with some health issues that are triggered when I don't get enough rest. And so it is vitally important that I get enough rest. And I am such a workaholic. Okay, I admitted it. I'm a workaholic until if I'm not careful, I'll keep pushing and pushing until the job is done, no matter what time it is. I can work through the night and do the best I can and work and work and work, but my body no longer allows me to keep pushing. I think that comes with getting older too. I keep trying to act like I did when I was in my 20s, and my body is just like, stop lying to yourself. But it's important that we take care of our bodies, no matter what our age is, no matter what we're dealing with. We have to learn how to get proper rest. When I had my last doctor's appointment, that was something that came up in the conversation. He specifically said, if you don't get enough rest, that is your biggest trigger for setting things off with your heart, and so it's important that we get enough rest and that we take the time to do what we need to do to stay functional and to stay at our optimum. And so what does that vision look like? And in creating a vision for your burnout-free life, sorry. In creating that vision, you have to stop and think about the obstacles that will come up. It's just a part of life. Obstacles will stand in the way. Things will come up. And you have to be prepared for these contingencies. What are you going to do? For example, what am I going to do when I'm out late at a church service and the drive back is past my bedtime and I am the driver and I'm the only one in the car? I can't just say, okay, I'm going to sleep while I'm on the highway. What is the plan? And so it's super important that we understand that when we have these great visions of the burnout free life we want to have, we also have a plan in place for opposition, for obstacles, for things that come up that are beyond our control. And so the second thing is we have to talk about how to maintain the habits and boundaries that you've learned. And so boundaries are healthy. You have to. Let me tell you, and I may have shared this with you on another episode, but just this weekend, I violated some boundaries that I had set for myself. One of which is that I don't want to work on Saturdays because that's my time with my husband. He works outside the home, he's busy all the time, and we enjoy our company with each other. And so I want to spend time with him, and Saturdays is like the ideal day, to do that. And so we love hanging out together and playing cards and all of that. But I worked on Saturday. I did a whole lot of other things on Saturday. And here's the thing, when you don't have healthy boundaries, what you're actually saying is that your yes is to one thing, but you're saying no to something else that you said was important to you. And you're really saying to that person, that project or whatever, that you're not as important as you thought you were. Now, is that a statement that you would actually say to someone that you love? I know I wouldn't, but this is what our actions are showing when we repeatedly violate the boundaries that we've set in place. Another boundary that I have is that I typically don't start working before 10 o'clock. I don't do podcast recordings. I don't do interviews. I don't do any of that before 10 o'clock in the morning because I don't want to. It's not that deep. So, and I just want to have a quiet morning and ease into my day and do what I need to do. Well, I violated that again on this week. Now, provided the interview that I had went great. It was wonderful. And it was great. It really was. But was it worth violating my boundary? And that's a question that you really have to ask yourself, because the goal is to have a burnout-free life. And that particular day, I believe it was Tuesday, I had an interview at 9. I had another Zoom call at 10:45. I had another one at 12 o'clock. It was just back to back to back. And so by the time I got out of my third meeting, I was just wiped out. That's not the way I want to be. There was way more day left and not enough energy. And so it's important that you maintain habits and boundaries that you've learned and that you realize will benefit you. Finally, I want to encourage you to seek ongoing support through coaching or community. This is so important because many times we try to go it alone. And because we think, we're independent and we don't need anybody. I've been with myself all this time. I don't need anybody else. And we are social beings. We always have been and we always will be. And God never intended for us to just live a life of isolation. You gain so much when you are around other people who may be facing the same situations that you are, the same burnout that you are. However, the fact that I know you're struggling just like me somehow gives me courage, because now I'm not in this by myself and we can relate to each other, and we can encourage one another when we're down. And so it's important that you seek out support through coaching, through even therapy, through community. Do what you have to do so that you can bring your best self to every aspect of your life. It's so important that you do that because we need somebody. Not having anyone to talk to is detrimental to your mental health, is detrimental to your overall worldview, and you become bitter. You're left to your own thinking and conclusions without any outside input. And that's a dangerous place to be in, because when you interact with other people, not only do you bring your ideas to the table, but once you listen to them, now you have their ideas to add to your own. So it makes you wiser. It makes you richer in a sense. And so make sure that you're seeking that support through coaching. And guess what? I am your executive balance coach. And I do have a couple of slots available for VIP days. And I even have a community called Empower Her Community. It's Empower Her Leadership Network, actually. And this is where executive women get together and we bond over our victories, our struggles, our highs and our lows, and we get together and we support one another. No matter where you are in the world, our network is here for you. And so it's the Empower Her Leadership Network. I'll leave the link in the show notes below. But I want you to know as I close here that Psalm 37:23 says, "The steps of a good man or woman are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his way." I believe that God has led you to watch this episode as well as the other episodes in this series, because there's something in you that resonates with what I'm saying. You're doing great work. This series on burnout is definitely not about accusing anyone of being lazy or you should work, harder. This is not that at all. If that was your takeaway from this series, you missed the point altogether. The takeaway is that there is a better life. There is a better way of doing things. And it's a matter of working smarter, not harder. And sometimes we need that guidance to help us establish healthy boundaries, to really identify the source of the burnout. Because until you deal with the source of what is causing you to burn out, it's not going to go away. And so we cannot handle and we cannot do anything with outside sources a lot of times. And we can't control what other people are doing and saying and feeling, but we can control us. We can control ourselves, our emotions, our responses. And so that's why I've been doing this series, because it's important that you know that you don't have to stay burnt out. That is why I provided every session, I've been providing the Burnout Recovery Toolkit, absolutely free. Free, as they say, free 99, free. And all you had to do is click on the link and put in your name and email address, and you will get the toolkit absolutely free. And in the toolkit, it is a compilation of all 5 episodes. It compiles the series all together in reflective activities so that you can actually do something with what you heard. One of the things that my pastor often says is that we can listen to great advice all we want to, but until we actually apply it to our lives, it means nothing. And so it's important that you take the toolkit and go through it and start applying it to your lives. And you can always re-listen to this entire episode. All 5 episodes. That's what we've been doing for the entire month of January. And I am so excited. We made it through this month. We made it through the series. And I hope that you have gotten something out of this episode of the Burnout Recovery Blueprint, from surviving to thriving. In the first episode of this series, we talked about what burnout really looks like and why you might be missing the signs. In the second episode of this series, we talked about breaking the cycle, why rest is not optional. And you've heard me talk about that today. Also, in the third episode in the series, we talked about boundaries that heal, protecting your time. That was a powerful, powerful episode. So you need to go back and look through the episodes. And if you're watching on YouTube, check out the YouTubes. They're there. If you're listening to this on the podcast, the episodes are there. And then last week in the fourth episode in the series, we talked about burnout and relationships, reconnecting with your support system. Yeah, that was powerful too. And today we're wrapping it all up, talking about the burnout to balance, crafting your sustainable success plan. That's so important. But I have one more announcement. So you've heard these 5 episodes, you've heard me talking and teaching and laughing and sharing, some of my life story with you and how I've been dealing with burnout. You've heard all of that. Now it's application time. That is because February 11th through the 13th, I'm hosting the Burnout to Balance Boot Camp. Yes, boot camp. On those days, February 11th through the 13th, at 2 o'clock p.m. Central Time, 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern, and I guess that would be 12 noon Pacific Time. You want to definitely be in the room with me, because we're going to really work on taking you from burnout to balance. We've got the days already planned out. I am super excited about that. And so you definitely want to get in the room with me that day. Yes, you do. It's going to be a wonderful time. Come prepared to interact. This is not a sit and get. You're not going to just listen to me just talk all day. And when I say all day, it's only about 75 minutes, 75 to 90 minutes each day. But it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful experience. And what you're going to walk away with when you come is a clear understanding of what's causing burnout in your life, a customized action plan for creating balance, practical strategies to protect your time and energy, and the confidence to set and enforce boundaries without guilt. Very, very important there. And so it's going to be great. It's going to be a wonderful time. Day 1, we're identifying the burnout and what's draining you. Day 2, we're setting boundaries and reclaiming your time. And day 3, we're building a personalized balance plan for lasting success. I am so super duper excited. You want to be in the room where, if you enjoyed this series, you are going to get so much more out of the boot camp. It will be live. It's not pre-recorded. It's not on Evergreen. I will be there live and in person. Well, virtually, but we'll be on Zoom, but it will be live. And so the only way to see and to get involved in this is to register. And so I'll put the link in the show notes so that you can register. You want to be in the room. Don't miss this opportunity, because it will change your life. Yes, it will. So that's the Burnout to Balance Boot Camp. And it's February 11th through the 13th at 2 p.m. Central Time. Adjust that time for whatever time zone you're in. And let me tell you, if you're saying, well, what if I can't make it live to the boot camp, if I can't attend live? Well, the replays will be available only to registrants for a limited time. And so if you don't register, you won't be able to find this boot camp anywhere. I'm not live streaming, to Facebook or anything like that. You have to be in the room, in the Zoom with me. And so to those who register, you'll have access to the replays. If you don't register, you got nothing. I don't know what to say about that, but neither will you have solutions to your burnout. Is holding on to your burnout worth it? What is the cost of not attending? Well, the cost of not attending is more stress with no solutions, more worries with no solutions, more physical ailments with no solutions. Now, I'm not going to tell you take a pill or take this. I'm not giving any type of medical advice. I'm trying to give you some life wisdom that will help you so that you can bring your best version of you to every aspect of your life. Yes, I've said that phrase several times in this episode alone. Why? Because if we are honest, no one has seen the best of you yet. Because you're holding back, you're stressed out, you're tired. Don't your loved ones deserve the best version of you? Doesn't your purpose, the reason why you were created, whatever that purpose is, doesn't it deserve the best of you? Well, I want to help you get there. Join me February 11th through the 13th on Zoom for the Burnout to Balance Bootcamp at 2 p.m. Central Time. It is live. I will be there each day. Come ready to interact. I am super excited, and I'm trying to work on some other surprises for the boot camp. And so get involved. I'm looking for you. And until the next time, be blessed, be encouraged, but most of all, be empowered.